What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be trying to go over everything you need to know about Fortnite Chapter 6. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, comment down below what you think of Fortnite Chapter 6, and if you would like to use my creator code in the item shop, it is EvolveJake, just like my channel name. It's underneath the webcam at all times. So we got, obviously, with Chapter 6, we get a new map and a new battle pass, but we also got a lot of new items added to the loot pool. We got 2 new ARs, 2 SMGs, 3 shotguns, and then some other items as well. For the ARs, we have the Fury AR and the Hollow Twister AR. The Fury AR is like a high fire rate, third person only, which is a bloom weapon. And it's more of like a hybrid between an AR and an SMG, I feel like. And then the Hollow Twister AR is more of like a slower fire rate, but not super slow assault rifle that actually has a 1.3 hollow sight on it. So the way the weapons work in Chapter 6 is there are mods or attachments which you might be familiar with from Chapter 5, but you don't actually customize the weapons at a mod bench or anything. It's just certain weapons come with mods already equipped, and they're going to come with those mods every single time you find them. It's not like Chapter 5 where it was random what you would get, and then you would have to take it to a mod bench to get exactly what you wanted. Now there's mods, but we can't change them. The Twister AR is always going to have the 1.3 hollow sight every single time you find it. And a lot of people will be asking themselves now, well, we have mods. Are the weapons projectile like they were in Chapter 5, or are they hit scan? And the weapons themselves are actually hit scan. And what this means is that the bullets have no bullet drop and no bullet travel time. When you shoot the weapon, the bullet goes exactly where you were looking at the moment you hit the shoot button. So you don't have to worry about bullet drop. You don't have to worry about travel time. None of that. I think the Hollow Twister AR, it's my preferred, but I didn't really get to use the Fury AR that much. For the SMGs, we have the Precision SMG, which comes with a red dot sight and a silencer. And this weapon is actually really accurate. It doesn't have the highest damage, but it kind of reminds me of the TAC AR from the past, where like it's not the highest damage, but the fire rate is really good and the accuracy is also really good. So while it doesn't have the greatest damage, it can definitely melt people pretty quick. And then the Surge Fire SMG is kind of like a mid SMG, I would say, but it gets a faster fire rate over time. So if you've been holding the shoot button for a really long time, it does start to shoot quite quick. I feel like this is going to be most impactful in build mode and maybe when spraying cover out, and then also when fighting the bosses, that bonus fire rate might come into play. With both the Precision SMG and the Hollow Twister AR, they have these sights on them, but you can actually choose to enable or disable the sights and use it as a first-person weapon or a third-person weapon. On controller, you do this by hitting left stick when aimed in with the weapon, and then you can kind of choose whether or not you want the sight or not. Personally, I'm someone where like I don't find this feature to be that useful, and I'm pretty much always just going to use the sight on it if I'm using one of the sighted weapons. But if you're someone who cares about that, that's how you can disable it. I don't know what the bind is on keyboard. If anybody knows, leave a comment down below. I would appreciate that. But on controller, it's left stick. We have 3 shotguns in the loot pool: the Oni shotgun, the Sentinel shotgun, and then the auto shotgun. I forget what the name was, but it's the auto shotgun. For the Oni shotgun, this is reminiscent of the Ranger shotgun, where it hits really hard, like consistently solid damage, and has really good range. But the downside is it has a low magazine at 2 bullets. The Ranger shotgun had 1 bullet per reload. This has 2. So it's kind of like a slightly different Ranger shotgun. It also doesn't have the greatest fire rate. The Sentinel shotgun is the pump for this season, and so far this has been my favorite. It's kind of hard to describe pump shotguns, but it felt solid damage wise. It didn't feel incredibly clunky for me to like swap away from into a different weapon. So I enjoyed the Sentinel pump. It did what I expected from a pump. And then the auto shotgun this season I thought was very mid, which I feel like is kind of how it should be. It is an auto shotgun where it has like, a solid fire rate, and you can just hold the shoot button down and it'll keep shooting. And it has like, I believe 14 rounds in the mag, which is quite good. But the damage on this just felt never great to me, and then the fire rate was also not extreme. It felt pretty slow for an auto shotgun, which again is something I appreciate. My personal opinion on the shotguns in Fortnite is that the pump should always be the meta because it's like the more difficult to use item, and then the auto shotgun should be just kind of mid and be there as like an easier to use, more forgiving item. So I think they kind of nailed it with that auto shotgun. My opinion on these things may change because the season is still new, but so far I much preferred the Sentinel shotgun. We also got masks added to the game. I believe there's only the fire and the void masks in the game. These are the only ones I encountered. The fire mask just does damage when you throw fire at people with it. Pretty self-explanatory. The void mask is really interesting. So this has like 2 activations. You have your activation, which is your shoot button, which throws out a void ball. And then your second activation is going to be your aim down sights button. And this teleports you to wherever that void ball landed. And you can actually teleport before it lands, and it'll just put you where the ball was at the time you hit the button. But either way, this is an incredibly interesting mobility item because you can throw it where you want to go, tap the button, you go there. You could maybe set up something in advance where you'd like throw it, maybe push a team, and then teleport back to it if you are in danger or something. You can use this to avoid fall damage because it's when you drop, you get immune to fall damage. So I feel like the Void Mask is a really, really good mobility item, and it's also a really fun mobility item, and it's an item that allows you to kind of have so many different ways that you can approach fights, and like you could be really creative with it, which is something that I really appreciated about like shockwaves as well. There's so many different things you can do with shockwaves, and I feel like this Void Mask is going to be the same way. So I actually really enjoyed that. Another mobility item we have in the game right now is going to be the Typhoon Blade. This is a katana. With this, you get faster sprint and a reduced stamina cost for sprinting, and then you also get like a better jump, kind of like a double jump, if you like double hit the jump button. I thought the blade was good. I was using it incorrectly for a while because it does have a dash kind of like the kinetic blade, but it's much worse than the kinetic's blade dash. I feel like if you're trying to use this Typhoon Blade as mobility, you want to run around with it and do that double jump. The dash, it's not like the kinetic blade. The kinetic blade might be returning later on in the season. It was in the trailer. But for now, the Typhoon Blade is there, and it's a solid mobility item. Like I said, you kind of want to use it to run around and sprint and just jump all over the place and be a psycho that way. So if you want to use a Typhoon Blade, that is how you use it. I was definitely using it incorrectly at first. And then we also have returning items like the shockwave grenades. The suppressed pistol is back in the game. And then a lot of the heals like big pots, minis, bandages, medkits. Those are all in the game. Food items, shield fish and floppers, and porta bunkers also in zero build. And I think that's basically everything in the loot pool. For movement, we also got a lot of changes this season. You can now land in a roll if you hold your jump button while falling, and this will negate fall damage, I think. At least in my experience, it did. Maybe there's a certain point where it no longer negates fall damage, but from my experience, the roll negated fall damage. Wall bouncing, if you kind of like sprint and jump at a wall, you can bounce off the wall. There's wall climbing, which allows you to climb like tall vertical walls. You do this by kind of like jumping at the wall and holding the jump button. Anytime I tried to use this, it was just kind of weird to get it to work, and I never really found it that useful. And then there's also the ledge jump, where if you sprint jump off a ledge, you get like a boosted jump, and you can kind of combine this with the landing in a roll aspect to, land in a, like, get that boosted jump and then also land in a roll to negate fall. And a lot of these also give you a bonus to stamina as well. So if you're like chaining these movement options together well, you should be running out of stamina less frequently, which is nice. I liked the new movement. It felt good. It didn't feel like clunky or weird to get used to or anything. If you want to play and not use it, you can do that, but also it's there. There's also bosses and mythic items in the game right now. So the boss at Demon's Dojo drops a mythic precision SMG. This is the one with the red dot, and a medallion which reloads your weapons over time. You basically just get ammo added back to your magazine. And then she'll also drop a mythic void mask with 50 uses rather than 15. There's several shoguns around the map. You can see their logo on the map. It's rather large. And they will drop a mythic weapon. There is a mythic Fury AR, a mythic Surgefire SMG, and a mythic Sentinel Pump Shotgun. And the mythic Sentinel Pump Shotgun has a max damage of 200. So you can one pump people in builds with the mythic Sentinel Shotgun that you get by eliminating these shoguns that are just on the map. You can see their logos. I'm not sure if they move around or if they're always in the same spot because I didn't really go for them. The mythic AR actually comes from capturing the train, the mythic holographic twister AR. So if you want to get that, going for the train is definitely worthwhile. And then now, instead of Loot Island spawning in 4th zone, there's like basically a Shogun boss fight island that spawns in. So instead of capturing a flag, you have to eliminate the Shogun boss on there. And when eliminated, he'll drop a medallion that gives you infinite stamina and invisibility while sprinting, which is incredible. It's like a much, much, much better version of the Mysterio medallion from last season. I believe he also drops a gold Typhoon Blade, and then I'm not sure what his mythic weapon is, and he might drop a mask as well, one of the 50s Void masks. I'm not sure. Every time I fought him or was around that island, I didn't get much chance to like loot it. But the mythic weapons I was most concerned about was like the Twister AR and then the Sentinel Pump Shotgun. So I wasn't really that worried about this island boss's mythic. But yeah, those are how you get the medallions. Only 2 medallions. One is from Demon's Dojo the moment the game starts, and then the other one spawns in on that boss island in 4th zone. And these Shogun bosses are, I don't know if they're hard to eliminate, but they take quite a long time. They have a lot of health, and if you mess up, they actually can just basically delete you. So you do have to be paying a lot of attention when fighting them, and you also need to be paying attention to your surroundings because it's going to take you a while to eliminate these bosses. Of all the bosses we've had in Fortnite, I feel like these are some of the most difficult just because of how long it takes and their just ability to basically one-shot you. One final thing I want to talk about is going to be Boons and Sprites. So there's boons in the game, and you can get these from opening special chests, and they function like perks or like augments from the past. The Fire boon makes you reload faster. The Wind boon makes you move faster with your pickaxe out or sprint faster with your pickaxe out. The Void boon gives you a scan when you knock enemies, but I believe you can only get this by defeating the kind of like samurai bosses that are on the map. You can see their logo on the map at all time, and when you eliminate them, they'll drop a Void mask and this Void boon. I'm not sure if you can only get it that way. I just didn't see it when looting at all, whereas the other ones I did see when looting. So I think the Void boon is only from the samurai bosses that you can see on the map. Their logo is not as large as the Shoguns. And then the Water boon makes you heal from swimming. So instead of getting augments over time, you find 3 of them from looting the like special chests that are in the game now. And then maybe you can get the Void one from those chests as well, but I just never did. But I did see it from defeating these samurai bosses, and it kind of would make sense, I think, to make that one exclusive to the boss, but since the season is still very early, I'm not totally sure on that. And then these sprites are like these little wildlife characters that you can find. I'm not sure how many there are in the game. There's wind and water, I think, for sure, and with these you can have them in your inventory and then put it down. The water one works like a shield keg basically, where it'll heal you over time, but it does heal white health as well. It works like Slurp, where it'll heal what you need first. So if you're missing white, it'll heal white. And then the air or wind sprite basically just gives you redeploy. You get to like launch off of it basically and then fly around a bit, which is pretty good. It's like a pseudo mobility item. And then I'm not sure if there's other sprites in the game. If there is, I didn't see them. And then there also are these temples around the map where you can bring the sprite to it and then put it there, and it'll give you some loot for basically delivering the sprite to the temple. So I thought those were pretty interesting and definitely something that people would want to hear about. But that is going to be it for this video, just a kind of overview of what's important in this season. My favorite items so far are the Hollow Twister AR, the Sentinel Pump, the Void Mask, the Typhoon Blade or Shockwaves, and then some sort of heal as well. And I think both the medallions are very, very good, especially that infinite stamina and visibility one. It's kind of crazy. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below of Chapter 6. And if you did enjoy this video, found it helpful or interesting, informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.